July 25th, 2020. That's the date the Twitch account went up. It's public and you can go look at it yourself, which means the kid you watched get hit on stream last week has been doing this since he was 12 years old. 6 years logging on, going live, talking to nobody. His average viewer count before all of this was one, not 1,000, just one. I want you to actually sit in that for a second because everyone's skipping past it to get to the part with the yelling. 2,000 nights of setting up a stream for one person who might well have been a bot the whole time. Nobody does that for clout. There is no clout in that. You do that because it's the one room in the house where you get to decide what happens next. On August 20th, a streamer named Stable Ronaldo found him. Camden was lifting dumbbells at midnight, mouthing along to Poker Face, streaming to that one viewer. Ronaldo and Marlon watched him grinding away at nothing and thought it ruled, so they sent their whole audience over, 15,000 people, all at once. For about 90 seconds, that was the best night of that kid's life. You already know what happened next. That's why you clicked. And I'm not doing bits today. His mother came into the room because he was being loud. She started unplugging his equipment while he was still live. He's saying over and over, in a voice that gets worse every time you listen to it, "I have 10,000 people in here. Why are you taking my stuff? Mama, why are you taking my stuff?" She told him he was a failure. She told him he added no value to the house. She told him to get his clothes and get out. Then she elbowed him in the neck and she hit him, and all of it went out live to 15,000 people who had arrived roughly 2 minutes earlier expecting to watch a guy do bicep curls. Camden never swung back, not once. He sat there and took it and tried to protect the computer because the computer was the only thing in that room that was his. And then he said the line that I have not been able to put down since I heard it. He looked at the chat and said, "Go back to my videos. You'll see this happens every day, every day." So this wasn't the night it started. This was the night it had an audience. I'll come back to that because that's the whole video. And I want to say out of all this, there is a good part. The internet moved fast and it moved well. And I'm not going to be cynical about this next section because it deserves better than that. A streamer named Cena sent him money, not a shout out, money. That money bought a phone and got him out of that house. And he said so himself on stream. Agent 00, Jinxie, Jason the Ween, Lacey, a bunch of others gifted subs by the 100 to make sure the money actually landed while the attention was still there, because they all know exactly how short that window is. Doja Cat posted about him on August 22nd, told him he deserved it, told him not to give up, told her entire audience to go subscribe. IShowSpeed brought him on his broadcast 2 days later and told him he'd been in the same house more or less and couldn't finish watching the clip because it hit too close. That kid cried on camera, so did a lot of people watching. Charlie covered it and said flatly that she should be arrested, which, yeah. And the numbers went somewhere genuinely absurd. 273,000 followers gained, peak of 23,000 concurrent, partner on Twitch, partner on Kick, brands in the inbox, the whole thing inside of about a week. A kid who is averaging one viewer is now ranked somewhere around the 260th biggest channel on the platform. That's real, all of it. I want to be clear that I think the people who showed up for him did a genuinely good thing, and I'd have done the same, and most of you would have too. Okay, so now the part I actually made this video for. The reason any of that happened is that it was recorded. Not because it was bad, it had been bad for years. He told us that it had been bad for years on camera, and the internet's response to a kid saying this happens every day was to make him a partner instead of asking the obvious follow-up question. The thing that changed on August 20th wasn't the abuse, it was the viewer count. 15,000 people happened to be pointed at that room on the exact night it happened again, and that coincidence is the entire reason we know his name. If Stable Ronaldo scrolls past him, if the raid lands 10 minutes later, if he'd been streaming to his usual one person, which is what he'd been doing every night for 6 years, then that same thing happens in that same room and the total number of people who find out about it is one. That's not a story about the internet saving somebody. That's a story about a rounding error. And here's where I stop being comfortable with how everyone's telling this. 15,000 witnesses, millions more on the repost. One clip alone did 1.8 million views. Charlie, Doja Cat, Speed, most of the streaming ecosystem all lined up and said the same thing, which is that what happened on that video is a crime. As of me recording this, no charges have been filed, no arrest, nothing. The only legal machinery that has reportedly moved at all in the story moved against him. Think about the ratio there. The internet generated 250,000 followers, hundreds of thousands of dollars in eventual earnings, brand deals, a career, and a nationwide news cycle. What it did not generate was a single consequence for the adult who did it. We built him an escape hatch. We did not touch the thing he was escaping. And we're all pretty happy with that trade because the escape hatch is the part that makes a good post. I want to name one more thing that everybody's been polite about. Twitch and Kick both had an outstanding week. Kick gifted him 100 subs. Aiden Ross's channel put in another 50. Both platforms partnered him within days. And if you have ever tried to get partnered through the normal process, you know that is not how that normally goes. Partnering him fast was the right call, and I'm not mad about it. But be honest about what those companies got. Kick has spent 2 years being written about for gambling sponsorships and moderation problems. This week, they were the good guys in every article for free on the strength of an 18-year-old getting elbowed in the neck on their infrastructure. Nobody planned that. There's no conspiracy here. The machine just converts anything you feed it into engagement, and it doesn't ask permission first. And it's already moved on to phase 2. He's been flown out to Miami for a boxing event. He's doing the content house rounds. There are already people in his replies saying the bigger channels are using him for clout. And I don't know if that's fair, and neither do they. And that's sort of the problem. Nobody in that ecosystem is going to tell an 18-year-old with no money and no place to live that he should slow down. 6 days ago, he had 1 viewer. Now every large account in the space wants him standing next to them. There's no version of that which is uncomplicated. Which brings me to the actual reason I'm making this instead of scrolling past it. There are kids watching this video right now who live in a house like that one. So statistically, that's just true. This channel is not small, and that math works out to a real number of people. And every single one of them just watched a kid get out by going viral. And I need to be really, really direct about this because I think the way this story is being packaged is doing something quietly harmful. That is not a plan. That is a lottery ticket with someone's worst night printed on it. For every Camden, there are thousands of kids in that exact situation whose bad night wasn't broadcast, who don't have 15,000 witnesses, who are not going to get a Doja Cat tweet. They're just there tonight with no clip and no raid and nobody coming. If that's you, the thing that gets you out is not going viral. It's boring and it's slow and it works. It's a teacher, a counselor, a relative, a friend's parent, one adult you tell out loud. It's the hotline in the description of this video, which is free and doesn't need your name. It's a documented paper trail so that when you do leave, you leave with standing instead of just leaving. Camden got out because a stranger sent him money, and I'm glad. I hope it holds. But the version of the story where a kid needs 15,000 people to watch him get hit before anything moves is not a heartwarming story. We just decided to file it as one because the ending was tidy. And one more thing, and then I'm done. Do not go looking for her. I'm serious. I know this channel's comment section works, and I know how the internet works. There's an appetite right now to find that woman's name and her job and her address. And if you feel that pull, I understand it. And I'm telling you, it accomplishes nothing except handing her a story where she's the victim and giving her something to point at when the actual process catches up to her. Camden has not asked anyone to do that. He asked for subs. He got them. Leave it there. If you want to do something with the feeling you have right now, go watch his stream. He's still alive most nights, still 18, still figuring out what to do with the fact that the worst night of his life became his career. 6 years to 1 viewer. He earned the part that came after. He just shouldn't have had to earn it like that. And I'll see you in the next one. Cyler